Hi comrades, my name is John Narayan and I'm a member of the University&College Union here in the United Kingdom. UCU, as we like to call it, is the biggest trade union for academics and professional services working in universities and colleges across the United Kingdom. We have over 120,000 members of our union. And I'm here today to talk to you about what our union's been doing to organise around Palestinian solidarity as the war on Gaza continues to unfold and the unnecessary and unjustified deaths of civilians and children continue to mount up. Our union has a very strong history of standing in solidarity with the Palestinian people and backing calls for Palestinian self-determination and, of course, the occupation of Palestinian land. As the war has unfolded on Gaza and we've seen the death and destruction on our TV screens, on our Twitter feeds, our union has kept up with that tradition of standing with the Palestinian people and has called for an immediate ceasefire. We want a ceasefire now. In doing so, our national union has attended marches, has issued statements, again calling for an end of the occupation and a ceasefire now. Locally, branches like my own at King's College London, but also branches across UCU branches across the country have been passing motions in solidarity with the Palestinian people, calling for an immediate ceasefire, but also calling on the institutions to do a number of things. One is to make public statements on the need for a ceasefire and an end of the occupation of Palestinian land. The other is to end the complicity of UK higher education institutions, such as universities, with both the occupation but also the continuing war. Many of our universities, for example, have links with armed companies. We've also seen our branches pass motions that would create forms of solidarity with students around this cause and defending the rights of academic freedom of speech. UCU also stands in solidarity with the educational workers in Gaza. As we know, the bombardment of Gaza has killed many tens of thousands of people, but it's also attacked the infrastructure of Gaza. And one of the key points of that infrastructure has been its higher education sector. Every university in Gaza has had either a member of staff be killed or it has had their infrastructure, their buildings destroyed. So what UCU nationally has been calling for, and it's reflected through in our branches, is that not only do we have a ceasefire, not only do we have an end of the occupation, but we see the rebuilding of the educational institutions of the Palestinian people. Finally, I want to touch on something that my local branch at King's College London UCU, has been key to driving. Last summer, our branch passed a motion which then went to our UCU's National Congress and became UCU national policy on the demilitarization of our pension plan, which is known as USS. Now, USS is the biggest private pension fund in the United Kingdom. It has assets of around or just over £90 billion. It's a huge pension fund, but it also has links with arms companies like BAE Arms Systems. It has investments in other companies as well, which profiteer off war and death and destruction. Our motion called for the demilitarization of our pension fund with more ethical investment around green investments, but also disinvestments, from military occupation and military warfare. This has now become national UCU policy, and just this past week, the national UCU called on the people who run our pension fund to start the process of disinvestment. Now, there's still a long way to go on that process. We still need to make sure disinvestment actually happens. But if that does happen, this will be a major step in aiding Palestinian liberation and self-determination, because many of those arms companies are profiteering off the death and destruction in Gaza right now. And it also does another thing. Many people within our union need convincing that their labour struggles are part of a wider international struggle for freedom. But policy platforms like disinvestment from our pension funds, from military occupation and the profiteering of death and destruction make it very clear that union activity is not simply about our working conditions, but also how our working conditions are linked to the death or life of others around the world. We can make our working conditions better, but we can also make our working conditions conducive to fostering life and freedom for others across the planet. In that way, UCU stands for the end of the occupation and a ceasefire now